I think dating when you're younger has a lot of the optimism and fantasy about what relationships are going to be like. And particularly, I think that young people go in feeling that it's all about romance and a lot about physical attraction, and are not as well prepared to deal with what relationships are going to be like. Older women, I think in particular, they come to see us and they have a pretty specific set of what they think they want in a relationship. Some of them are, even in terms of where they went to school or their income or just ridiculous things. But certainly things about that he has to love the opera, I hope he plays tennis. These are the kinds of things that I really want in my next relationship because I didn't have it in my last one. And what we try to turn that into is more into what you need rather than what you want. Who are the kind of people that make you happy in your life? And when they tell us who those kinds of people, does she play tennis? Does she like the opera? Does she read the same books you do? So often you'll hear, no, we're so different. But that's really why we get along so well. Communicate with people all the time. You need to talk to people. You need to go to new places, a new grocery store, a different Starbucks, new concerts, different theaters. Get yourself into new environments because we all have habits. And if you do the same thing every day and you're meeting the same people and you're going with your wonderful friends, I always hear, I have such wonderful friends. You may have wonderful friends and that's great, but you really have to broaden your network. The widest possible net to cast is online. You are not dating online. You are simply having a brief correspondence. You're meeting someone and then you're going to date. And that's the most important, I think, helpful tip for older adults and really for everybody. If you create these, what I call non-productive email relationships and stories and conversations, pen pals, it's not like it's disastrous because it's only who you are on paper and you take one look and it doesn't work at all. So the idea is 3 quick sentences and get out meet for coffee, and that's it. Not one single older adult that we have met can write an online profile about herself that has some meaning and yet also is understanding what the goal is of the profile. So getting expert advice and some coaching and having a coach in your corner. There are a lot of people out there doing what we do. We're not the only ones. It's just great not to go this alone when you're older. So I think the 3 major concerns for older women specifically are caretaking, money, and family. And I think the challenge is how and when do you talk about these things? First date, second date, third date, 12th date, 3 months. If people, they go out for, maybe 8 times, 8 dates, 2 months worth, and still haven't brought up the topic of, or are wondering, should they be bringing up the topic of money? Phrases that I don't want to be a nurse or a purse is a familiar phrase that we hear. And what gets in the way for all of us, I think, is that we have voices in our heads and we don't know whether or not we're supposed to listen to them or not. Would it be polite? Would it be rude? Is he not going to like me? Should I even? Whether it's with a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a parent, anybody, we're never quite sure how we should act on our feelings. And I think if you're going to form a relationship, though, and this is the beginnings of a relationship, it's not going to be about what a nice city Boston is or about what the food is like at a restaurant. You're going to have to, at some point, get into some kind of a conversation that's going to let you know who this person is rather than what he does or where he's from or what his divorce was like or whatever. And another concern is if they're coming with family histories, and it's not just the on-site children, it's Men in particular bring a lot of their family history to the table when they're dating. They think that women really want to be involved in their families, or they haven't had a chance to talk to anybody about it so long that they use that experience as a way of sharing their histories. And women, I think, feel very strongly that they want to meet people and have relationships with people, with guys who really are going to love their children the way they love their children, or at least accept their children into their relationship. And that, that's not simple. There are concerns about intimacy, about how soon to be close to someone. He reaches for my hand on the first date. What if I'm not comfortable with that? Am I supposed to pull my hand right away? And after how many dates should I be thinking about having sexual relationship with someone? Is this going to be safe sex? How am I going to talk about that? Generally, I do say, I try to say 3 months. I don't, somebody will come in later or before that or whatever. But to try to really create a relationship before you can have sex together. Look on Tinder now. Tinder now is not about whether you want to meet for coffee. It's whether or not you want to go to bed after your drink in wherever you're having a drink around the corner. So I think it's a serious issue, and I think for older adults, they're much more naive about it, and they didn't have the experience about thinking about safe sex when they were younger. So bringing up safe sex can make them seem that they're, gee, that's kind of odd. Why would she bring up that? And yet if certainly in Florida, you have to pick a time, and that's why it's more important if you're in a relationship with somebody. You can say, this is awkward for me to bring up. I'm not that comfortable bringing this up, but I feel in today's culture that this is a topic I feel we should talk about if you feel comfortable with it.